Katie here from the YouTube channel The Scrappy Sisters, and I am up to date with a pocket page layout for Kitaholic Kits, and I am using what month are we up to? February. The February Kitaholic Kits. And there was heaps of the new Cocoa Vanilla collection, which I absolutely love Cocoa Vanilla, so I was extremely excited to get this kit, and I can really see myself completely killing this kit by the end of this month. So this was the first pocket page spread that I did with this kit. Oh, actually it was the second. I didn't record the first one. So I'd used some of the thickers already, but I still had enough to spell out week. And because I have for my title card a picture as well on my title card, because I had a lot of photos this month, I just put WK instead of the full word week. And I think I'm up to week 3 in my 2018 album. Excuse me while I also drink my morning tea this morning while I'm doing my voiceover. So I'm going through the ephemera pack because I wanted a label to put underneath the week 3 so I could write my dates. Sometimes I'll use stickers for my dates or thickers for my dates, and sometimes I'll handwrite. I used to stamp them every time, but I don't have a 2018 date stamp, and sometimes I'm just a bit lazy to get my stamp and inks out, I'll be honest, and I don't mind my handwriting. So sometimes I will just handwrite some of that information. So you can see there I've put the label down and I have handwritten the dates. And now I'm looking for something else just to put underneath that to kind of add a bit of embellishment and, you know, kind of a bit of interest to the title card. So I've gone with some of the tiny word stickers we got in the kit. It's a Maggie Holmes collection of tiny word stickers, and I've just added 3 to that title card, and I picked the ones that had a bit of colour to them. These stickers I think have a bit of a, from memory, have a creamy kind of background to them, and the rest of the papers in the kits are white, so I don't love mixing cream and white, but they had a few of the stickers had a colour wash over them, which went really well with the kits, so I have used those ones. And I've just added a label from some of Deb's exclusive labels that she does for the kits, so that I can just write a little bit of journaling on that particular photo. Now this week, the reason I have so many photos is because the majority of them are all from the one thing, and that is the fact that we did some repaving to our backyard. So my partner, his uncle came and helped us. Who's a bricklayer, but we obviously were helping him do that. He's a retired bricklayer, so we were doing all the labouring and the lifting, and it was a big job, and it took 2 days, and so that is what most of my photos are about. So yeah, they kind of all look the same, but they're just documenting different stages of our bricklaying process. So you can see me here, I've just adding some tiny word sticker and some enamel dots to that card, and just trimming off. I hung one of the enamel dots over the edge, so just trimming that off. And I didn't bother necessarily with putting labels on all of the photos for journaling, because most of them, as I said, are about the same event. So they didn't need so much journaling because it's pretty obvious what we're doing, we're bricklaying. But some, you know, I wanted to put some journaling in for some interesting parts of the story that I wanted to tell. So with my filler card, I don't actually put any room for journaling on my filler card because, you know, I didn't need to do a whole lot of journaling. So I'm just making a card, and I'm using the deer sticker from the sticker sheet, as you can see. Did some doodling around the border, and added some enamel dots, which I'm just picking out which colours I thought went the best and adding those, and then that's it. Oh, I think I added a tiny word sticker too. So this is a really simple and quick spread. Most of my pocket page spreads are like this. I take a lot of photos, and if I don't have a lot of photos in one week, I will combine weeks together rather than put a lot of filler cards in. My albums always get so big, and I don't like to fill them to bursting, and I definitely don't want more than 2 albums in a year. Ideally I'd love 1 album, but I think that's almost impossible. At least for me it is, to do 1 album per year. So yeah, I'm just working on my cards here. You can see I'm working on the bottom right card, and putting quite a large journaling or label on that so that I could write a decent amount of journaling on that photo, and then just left it at that. Which one I'm working on now? Oh, here we go. So what I sometimes do, and you can see here is a good example, when I've got a lot of photos and there are a lot of 3x4 photos, I will actually print and put 2 3x4 photos into the 4x6 slots. And so that's what I've done a couple of times on this spread. I didn't plan that very well in advance. My PictureMate printer would print out 2 selfies, obviously, on 2 3x4 cards on 1 4x6, and then I wouldn't have had to cut them and re-stick them back on. But I'd already cut all my photos and was laying them out and deciding where they fit in the album, and so I'd already cut them. So I should have planned ahead, and I wouldn't have had to cut them and re-stick down, because there's at least 2 of these 4x6 photos that have 2 3x4s in them, and so it's okay to stick them. It's not a big deal, but it's just, yeah, it would have looked nicer if I didn't, if I hadn't have cut them, because I cut my photos slightly smaller than 3x4 to fit in the 3x4 pocket page slots, like ever so slightly, just a millimetre, but that means that there's a bit of a gap, but that's okay. I can live with it. So again, just sticking some tiny word stickers onto the photos, and I'm kind of going with the whole Amy Gretchen inspired pocket page and sticking things in the middle of my photos. She does a lot of that, and I think it looks really cool. Obviously I have a very different style to her, so it doesn't look like her work, but she does often stick things in the middle of photos, and I do think it looks cool. Tea stop. Right, so I'm just spreading out the labels that I want to use onto the photos before I stick them down, just making sure I like, you know, where they all go, and then I've got a label where I want it, and also that I don't always like having the same colour labels in all of my photos, so I like to kind of spread them around a bit. Yeah, so I'm just attaching the labels now, and then I'll come back and see what other bits and pieces I need to add to the photos after I've done my filler cards. So I've obviously got 2 filler cards there that I need to complete, and so I think I move on to those first, and then I'll come back and add a bit of embellishments to some of those photos. Yeah, so I think I'm just looking at my stash and seeing what we got in the kits and what will work. So I'm pulling out that first filler card, the 3x4 filler card. It is a little tight, so I think I trim it. As I was saying to you before, I trim my cards down ever so slightly from 3x4 because they are a very tight fit into the pocket page, and so if you want to add any kind of dimensional embellishments, it makes it really difficult to get them back in. Excuse me, I'm sneezing this morning. So I've just gone through the ephemera pack we got, and I pulled out one of the little frames which I'm going to use, and a little tag which I'm adding, and I'm just seeing if there's anything else in the ephemera pack that I want to use. And I don't think there is, but we will go through it. But yes, I think I just stick with that. Yeah, so I'm going to stick those down onto the page. Yeah, add that to the page with a little bit of overhang, which I'll trim off, and then add the tag. So just trimming that off, and then I'll add the tag. And then I think to finish it off, I do add a little bit of enamel dots. Because I've put enamel dots on the other side of the page, I do like to kind of continue that theme over both sides. I mean, I don't mind if my pages aren't perfectly symmetrical or anything like that, but because I have been using enamel dots and at the moment I don't have any on the right hand side, I will add some to this card and some to the other filler card, and then I'll add my doodly border as well because I've done that on the other page, and again I want to sort of continue that look, so just adding my doodly border, and then that card is done. So nearly there, working on the last filler card now, and I'm sort of having a look through my larger embellishment pieces to see if there's any of those that I'd like to include. And I do decide to go with this giant stag head, deer head, whatever you like to call it, on the chipboard sheet. Mainly, I'll be perfectly honest, because I'm not sure where I will use it. And as a filler card, kind of works well. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, I do decide to grab that and use that as my main kind of embellishment piece on my filler card there. Do I add that sticker? Yes. So I also add a sticker into the middle of that photo. As I said, because all these photos are pretty much the same, I didn't mind so much that that sticker covered a huge chunk of that photo, because you can see basically in the other photos some of the things that that photo was showing. So it didn't matter a big deal. So you can see here I'm just figuring out what to do with this filler page. I'm adding a tiny word sticker on the bottom of the deer, adding some enamel dots, and then doing my doodly border. Now I do mess up my doodly border a little bit, but I just cover it with some squiggles because, you know, it's a doodly border. It's not supposed to be perfect. I never did a lot of these, but I do love how they look. And I can see the appeal for people for doodling. So I'm getting to the end. You can see I'm just tidying up around me, but I know I want to add a few other bits and pieces to my layout. So I bring out some of the gold chipboard stars that actually came in the January kits, and I'm going to add a few of those to my layout. So I just pick a few of the photos that I think could do with a little bit of extra oomph and add some of those. I think I add them on 3 photos. I kind of go with the whole triangle effect. And there we go. I'm pretty sure that is it. So I'm not going to do my journaling on camera today. I will do that off camera because it will just take a bit too much time. So we are done. This is the spread. I hope you like it. I hope you're enjoying the kits this month. Yeah, I am loving them. So keep creating. We'll see you in the next video.